You guys know we love projects. Well, I love thinking up projects. I don't know if Jason loves executing all my projects, but he is so awesome that he just keeps plucking along. And we have another project in the work. It's been quite a few days already that he's worked on it here and there, but he and Leo are making some big progress today, and I thought it's time to get this camera out and show you what is going on over here. If you have been around our channel for long, you will know that right here next to our big garden, there was a greenhouse. Now that greenhouse is no longer here because we decided to make a new one. And by we, I kind of mean me. No, it was a joint project, right?
It kind of went something like, what's it going to take to fix the old one? And then it was less pain to just rebuild it than it was to make it. Yeah, because in the end we have a much better product.
That's true.
Much better.
Any more?
I mean, just the fact that it wasn't like plumbed and leveled
No,
was
it
enough
wasn't.
to
I couldn't believe it.
give you a crane.
So the old greenhouse was made out of two big panels, which I can show you. They were wire panels that had been here, part of a whole wire cage that I guess they housed animals in before we lived in this house. It was here on the property when we bought it, and so we took the two ends of it, and Jason made a frame, basically like framed up a room using those two ends to make a larger, longer greenhouse that we then covered with greenhouse plastic around the outside and plastic roofing on top. It was sufficient, but it was not adequate with keeping in the heat. We had to run a heater when we used it to start seeds, and it was just like the heater ran non-stop. Because the heat would just escape, it wasn't, I mean, it's greenhouse plastic, and it wasn't even like a super high quality plastic, and so the heat would just keep escaping, so we were just running a heater constantly to try to keep it up to temperature. So long term it wasn't a great solution, but it worked at the time. We thought a lot about fitting the old windows into the old greenhouse, but it was just like, it just would be a job to do. And so Jason said he would do it. He started from scratch building a new greenhouse. His friend Joe came over to help, and they actually put concrete into the ground to support these posts. I'll have Jason tell you about it, so that it would be very solid, that it wouldn't be going anywhere.
So I took my chainsaw with Leo and I, took the beam maker as an attachment that fits on it. I think there was a video about that. Anyway, it took a log and took off the round parts, make it in a beam or a post. And so we sunk it in concrete to the frost line so it doesn't heave it up. And then we tried to line it up as best as possible with the existing buildings, fences, all that. And then then it's like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? There's always something. It's like, I could have done this differently. I could have had my purlings go out further so that I could have the sides of it protecting, the roofing protecting the sides a little bit better, but that's fine. I could have built another beam in here. So these posts over here, they are structural now. These posts right here are structural.
Where did these posts come from?
These were in the old house.
Wow.
And they were in the bathroom, actually. And they're really light.
They are. Why are they so light?
Them.
Is it the type of wood that it is?
It's cedar, yeah, but I think it's western cedar. I remember, when you cut it, it smells like what my pencils used to smell like when I was a kid in grade school. So, certain pencils, anyway. So these are structural. We had to dig down, support the board underneath, because I didn't think through the fact of the span and the weight and what we were wanting to do with the windows and whatever. So
it's been a series of overcoming obstacles and figuring it out.
Adapt and overcome.
And look at how far you are.
Yes, we're getting there. My wife has been such a cheerleader. It's been lots of challenges.
How can I not cheer? You're building me a greenhouse.
Because we're how far along past when we should be having seeds.
Oh, that's okay. I started them in the house, so they'll be good to go.
Yeah, she gave up on me.
Any other stuff?
Well, right now y'all are just zipping ahead. Oh, you know what? I think I got this one right.
Are you hauling wood to the fire?
Right here.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, oh, you know what? If you drag any of that stuff over there, that would be awesome.
So we have these windows here. We kind of had to fit them together a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. But we will have, let's see, the door over here will go into the garden itself. And then windows all the way around. Some of them are actually just glass that doesn't
Only
open.
3 of them, actually.
3 of them.
Yeah.
And then others are old wooden windows. My plan is to paint all of the windows whites because I was going to go with black originally, but the majority of the windows are already white, so it would just save me a ton of time, as you can see.
Show them the door. This was out of like an old walk-in cooler, like at a Huck's or something back in the 70s.
Right. Okay, so this was out of a old walk-in like refrigerator, like you would find at a grocery store.
Cooler.
Beverage cooler.
It's got doors.
Oh, that's right. You wouldn't walk in it necessarily because it has handles.
Well, you would walk in on the other
side.
That's where our walk-in cooler came from.
Right. And so we had these glass panels left over. So we will be using some of these.
We were going to use them all, but then we noticed there was some moisture that got between the 2 insulated panes in the back. And then I made a mistake when I set my posts. I transposed numbers. Instead of 76, it was 67. And that totally messed me up for the distance on my post. So
but again,
I had to adapt it. You know what though? Here's what's awesome. Like I was telling Leo this. When I started laying this out, after I had the plan of what I was going to do, and then it basically wasn't going to work, and then I had to do something different. When I started laying it out and figuring out what it would be, it was a 2x4 on either side of all 3 windows, those 2 posts, and it fit literally with a 1/2 inch gap.
Wow.
Which is what you want anyway.
That's
to fit
awesome.
your stuff in there. The windows in there. Yeah, so it was actually not a 1/2 inch, but it was perfect.
So this is the door that we're going to be using. Just an old...
Serious door.
It is kind of silly for a greenhouse as far as the heavy dutiness of it, but you know, it's a free door. So this will be white, painted white, and then we have these older windows, as you can see. They're patiently waiting to be added into the greenhouse, and then I'll have to paint this white as well, which I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. This is like a slick metallic kind of finish on here, so I want to paint it white in a way that's not just going to scratch off right away, so I've got to think about that. But that will be all I have to paint. And then the rest of it, I'm going to leave wood. So it will be the wood look with white. These are still, my friend Jenny gave us these. It's greenhouse plastic, the corrugated plastic. So those are being used for the roof, and that's what Leo's been working on putting up today. Leo has been working hard getting this roof up today.
He has.
Thank you, buddy.
Silas was helping him earlier.
Yeah, Silas has been helping too, but moved on to the fire, I think. Hey! I'm scared of ladders anyway, and I'm standing up here bravely. Don't wiggle it. Where's your coat? It's so cold out here.
I took it off.
They were by the fire, man.
It is a new day, and some progress has been made, so I'm going to take you back over to the greenhouse and show you what has been done. Look at all this progress that has been made in just a couple of short days.
Full-time job for you, Joe? What's that, the video?
Our friend Joe is here helping. We're so grateful for it. It is looking good.
Now, were you driving these in?
Yeah.
And you got them all?
I think so.
So windows are in on the back wall. Now this bottom portion where you see nothing right now is going to be wood. We talked about putting windows all the way to the floor, but the reality is no sun is going to come in down there the way this building is situated. Even when we get around to these sides, I said just put wood because the way the sun comes in, It's mostly at an upward angle, hitting from here, like across Bella. And so it won't make any difference to have windows down there.
That one over there.
It's kind of hard to get a reference on the camera, I'm sure, but the sun comes in from this side of the building. And so over here on this, what we're calling the back wall, because the door is going to be on this side. There's the house door. This back wall, we needed some extra spacers because of the size of these windows, and so we went ahead and used these beams because again, there's no sun coming directly in there, and so we won't have a problem with those shadowing important plants. It looks really neat, doesn't it? So the exciting news is that we are windowed on all 4 sides of this greenhouse. Jason has been able to work a little here, a little there in between his real job, and it is coming along very nicely. They are hoping to get it walled in today. So what's missing is actually this bottom portion.
So what kind of nail you have? Let me look.
We have a real door. Listen to the sound of this thing. This is the front with the door that leads into my vegetable garden. My plan is right here next to the door to have tables that are an L shape right here along these 2 walls. And those will be tables where I can put starts. So start seedlings there. I can start seedlings there. And they were racing for nails. And that will be in a prime sun location. Then I'm hoping to be able to have something like a dwarf lemon tree in here, my fig tree, those kind of things that will grow better because they'll be in a warm room. And so I was thinking those could go along this back so that they don't shade the little seedlings in the front. I am here in the greenhouse and it is completely sealed in. The cosmetic, fancy finishing isn't done, and the siding on the bottom part is not up yet. But it is holding heat. In fact, it was almost 100 degrees when I came in here, so I had to open one of the windows. I moved my seedlings in because it's time, it's warm enough, and I couldn't wait to get them out of the house. So the plan is, I just put them on this little table right now, but the plan is that we're going to have shelves along the windows here. And also from the ceiling, I have 2 big grow lights that will be hanging down with straps to hover just above the ceilings while they're in this stage. You can see it's only been about, I say this is maybe the 3rd day that these little tomato guys have been up, and you can see they're already just reaching for the light because they were in my bedroom, which was pretty dark. Our plan is to get a damper vent to put in the ceiling that goes up and down depending on the temperature, and that will help. We hope to regulate it a little bit. We're looking into options because we don't want to break the bank. So down here, he put the black plastic up. Both of these sides eventually will have a finished wood look similar to that. Can you see that? That is our chicken coop. You see how it has siding like that on it? Yeah, that will be down here, which will make it look nice, of course. And then eventually the goal is to trim out all the windows and just make it a really pretty space in here. I came in here today with a hose and just sprayed off all of the windows inside and outside because they were really filthy from laying over in the dirt during the building process, and then it had rained and splashed mud up on them. So I want to do a nicer washing, but even the windows in my house don't get washed that often, so I'm trying to stay realistic here. But I did spray them off just to clear that mud away. Now we do have 2 of these. We will stand up, just like there's one over here. These are big black metal barrels filled with water. They act as like a battery that they soak in the sun's heat during the day, and then at night it slowly releases out and helps to maintain the temperature in your greenhouse. So this one will be stood up, just like this guy is over here in this corner. And then that will be an easy way to put a shelf across those as well. I also want to make note, if you guys are having trouble starting tomatoes or peppers, the peppers especially, I recommend this heat mat. I got this off Amazon. I think it was only $15, and I was nervous about buying it because you never know. But it was wonderful. And all of the things that have sprouted quickly are the plants that were on the heat mats because it helps to keep that soil temperature up. This project turned out even better than I imagined, and I'm so excited to fill it up with plants.